Hey there, Parker Reed here, and welcome to PR Media, your home for everything movies and music. Rise. And today we have a review of the new 4K Ultra HD Blu-Ray edition of Cinema Paradiso. Young Salvatore De Vita discovers the perfect escape from life in his war-torn Sicilian village, the Cinema Paradiso movie house, where projectionist Alfredo instills in the boy a deep love of films. When Salvatore grows up, falls in love with a beautiful local girl, and takes over as Paradiso's projectionist, Alfredo must convince Salvatore to leave his small town and pursue his passion for filmmaking. So going into this review, I've never even heard of this movie before. It's an Italian drama from 1990, so obviously it just wasn't on my radar. But with a lot of 4K releases, I like to give movies a fair shot, and if a company like Arrow Video is going to do a release of a film, obviously there is some merit to it, so I decided to check it out, and I'm really glad that I did. Going into this movie, I thought it was going to be kind of a fluffy view of the love of filmmaking, love of movies and all that, and told in this very kind of fluffy way, but this was very dramatic. There's a lot of really emotionally hard scenes to watch in this movie. I appreciate that about it, but it did make me feel a little less joyful as I was watching it. We really don't get those sequences where Salvatore is really happy and shows his love for film until like the end of the movie. There are a few times here and there in the movie, but overall it's just a really dramatic look at his life, and it does not wrap up the way you think it's going to. It's a lot more of a real ending than I thought this movie was going to get. And yes, the ending dragged on a little bit longer than it should have, and that was a little bit annoying, a little bit grating, but I enjoyed taking a look at an Italian movie, and yes, this is subtitled, so you can read that text a lot of the time, but after seeing Parasite and a few other films in 4K, I don't mind reading subtitles. Was it my favorite movie in the world? No, I've been to Italy before, but I just don't really relate to that lifestyle, so I don't connect with it on an emotional level as much as someone who grew up in Italy did, but I did enjoy this movie. But is the 4K transfer any good? Let's find out. So if you decide to pick up Cinema Paradiso on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray, you just have the one version to pick from in the US, but this is the overseas UK version because I actually got it cheaper than actually buying it from Best Buy in the United States. I know, it's crazy, and when I went to try and buy it on release day at Best Buy, it was sold out and unavailable, so I went with the closest and best option. So if you decide to pick up the version that I got, you feature this artwork here, for this is new for the release, and on the back we have some information about the film as well as some technical specs. And when you take off the slipcover, one thing I like about overseas 4K cases is they are a little bit beefier than the US ones are. They feel a little bit more substantial in the hand, and like they will not instantly break if I drop it. So thank you for the UK for that. But on the front and the back, looks the same as the slipcover. When you open it up, here is what the 4K disc looks like, and that features the theatrical cut. And on the Blu-ray disc, it features the director's cut. I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get the director's cut in 4K, but I've never even seen the movie prior to this, so I'll take what I can get. Also included with this release is a nice little booklet featuring just some photos from the film, as well as some information about the cast and crew, interviews, all that jazz. I'll go through it briefly. It's not too big, so you can see all the different photos that are included with it. And there is a lot of striking imagery in this movie, so thankfully it is captured here in this booklet. For anyone who doesn't want to just sit down and watch the 2-hour plus movie, it is very interesting and a good addition to this set. So for visuals on Cinema Paradiso, we have native 4K 2160p, and this is full screen, so you will not have any black bars at the top and the bottom. The aspect ratio is a little bit cropped on the two sides. That's just the way it was filmed back in the day, but it is full screen, and holy crap, these visuals are pretty solid. So coming out in 1990, obviously this is going to have a very filmic look because it was shot on film, and the grain structure in this movie is very, very heavy. It's almost overwhelming at times how grainy it is, but that's how this movie was made to look, and that's how it was shot, so you got to respect the filmmaker's vision there. But with that grain does come a good amount of detail, especially when you get on close-ups. When there's a little bit of wider shots and when stuff is at night, you can't really tell it's a 4K all the time, but those times when it shines through, it really does look quite good. The HDR here is pretty solid as well, especially some nighttime scenes filmed outside in Italy. Those look fantastic, and when there's some natural daylight in here, it looks really great as well. Sure, the grain bothered me sometimes, and sure, the detail isn't as high as some other releases were from the 80s and 90s on 4K. That's all well and good in my eyes, but this was solid. I'd give it about a B- or C+ as far as visuals go. So for audio, in the normal theatrical version, we have a DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 mix, and I was really impressed with this. The score in this movie is very flourishing, it's very grand, it's very vibrant, and it really shines through on this release. You never have trouble hearing it in the dialogue. You don't have to squint your ears to hear what's going on. All the dialogue is very audible, and sometimes with older movies that can sometimes be a problem, but thankfully it's not in this release. And And there isn't a lot of sound effects or any like grand other sounds besides dialogue and music. It's very stripped down in that regard. It's very much a classic film in that regard. Like the films it portrays in this movie, it replicates that style. So audio, it was pretty good. I'd probably give it a B, B+. It didn't blow me away. There isn't Dolby Atmos on here like shaking my speakers. It just served the movie that it was attached to. So would I recommend Cinema Paradiso on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray? I would recommend the movie. It's pretty solid. I had a tear welling up by the end of it, but it's a bit too expensive right now. It's over $30 on 4K Blu-ray. That's just way too expensive. I think right around $25, $20 it would be better served. So wait for a sale on this. I'm pretty sure it will go on sale before too long because it is widely available. It wasn't strictly limited or anything by Arrow Video. So wait for a sale on this, and I think you're really going to enjoy Cinema Paradiso on 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw here, you can check us out on Facebook or Instagram and like, comment, and subscribe if you so choose. My name is Parker Reed. You've been watching PR Media. Keep supporting physical media, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.